Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio and host of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Mark Stracener. We're going to be discussing his amazing book, Rose City Redneck, My Poetic Journey Through Life. Available for purchase through Amazon as well as barnesandnoble.com. But people, listen, you're going to want to check out two other valuable resources to really gather more information on what he has going on, okay? Now, as I mentioned, Amazon, Barnes & Noble are where you have to go to purchase the book. But definitely check out his Facebook page, and that's Mark W. Stracener. And that's Mark with a K. W. Stracener is spelled Stracener. There you'll find more writing that Mark puts on his Facebook page. But then, for some audio things, I want you to check out his SoundCloud page. And that's going to be Mark Stracener. Leave out the W. SoundCloud is going to have more files there. So we have Rose City Redneck available for purchase through Amazon and Barnes & Noble. But then we also have Mark W. Stracener for Facebook and Mark Stracener for SoundCloud. Head on over there and really just get lost in the abundance that he has available for you. And I will say that Mark was brought to our network by some of the best publishers in the business. Pen2paper Press Ltd. So if you or anybody you know have a book that they'd like moved, give yourself the best gift you could possibly give. Contact Pen2paper and have them move it for you. And you can find out more information on their fantastic team at pen2paperpress.com. And remember, that's pen, the number 2, paperpress.com. Mark, first and foremost, welcome to People of Distinction, and thank you very much for being a guest. How are you doing today, man?
Well, thank you for having me. I really do appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Mark, you're too kind, man. The pleasure is all ours. It truly is an honor to have you here as a guest. Now, before we go into the book, start by telling our listening audience a little bit more about yourself and your background, please.
Yeah, I'm originally from Mountain Home, Arkansas, up in the Ozarks. I've been married for 36 years to my wife, Susie. We have 4 daughters. And I have 8 grandchildren, 7 grandsons, and 1 granddaughter who's, you can imagine, the princess of the family. So,
absolutely.
I'm still working full time. I'm 63 years old, and I've been retreading truck tires for over 40 years. Run a plant of wonderful gentlemen who do the work for me. Thank goodness I get to watch them instead of do the work. So, yeah,
Mark,
it's a long day, but they're wonderful guys.
Absolutely. Listen, Mark, that is absolutely incredible, man. Congratulations on first and foremost, what sounds like an amazing family that you've constructed and surrounded yourself with. And I absolutely can attest that one granddaughter that you have, she must be absolutely spoiled rotten. I mean, she's the only woman in the family. We're doing our best. I'll say that. There you have it. Well, listen, I know from my personal experience, I don't have any kids myself yet, but I do come from a very big family. I have 5 older brothers. I'm the youngest of 6. There's all boys. And once my nieces came around, or really my first niece, she took the cake. I thought I knew what being spoiled was like until she came around. And, of course, a house full of boys, when you get that first girl that comes there, it's special, man. It's absolutely special. Well, Mark,
I agree.
Nothing but continued success to you and all of your loved ones. And without further ado, the anchor for today's interview is all about your book, Rose City Redneck. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Rose City Redneck. I don't know what kind of images you get when you hear something about that, but I will. The book itself, to me, they're poetic snapshots of my life. Feelings that I have been able to conjure back up to get those feelings I had, say, when my daughter was born, my first daughter was born, the loss of my mother, such joyous things and sorrowful things. And I know that everyone feels them. And I know that everyone needs to feel like someone's there with them to experience it.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole root of the book, I hope that the reader would get, was that it's about love altogether, unconditional love of a parent to a child to a parent, and from Jesus Christ himself. Just unconditional love is what I hope someone experiences in this book.
Absolutely. Mark, I want to touch up on inspiration for a second because, I know from talking to you a little bit briefly in the pre-screening call, and then also the description that you just gave, I can assume why you've written this book, right? Or why you embarked upon the journey. But you know what happens when you assume, Mark, so I'm not going to do that to you. I have you here on the line. I'm going to go directly to the source. Talk to us and tell us really what inspired you to embark upon this journey and write this poetry book.
Well, the collection, and that's what it is. It's a collection of many years. A lot of these I've had in drawers. I've rediscovered some of these, and it wasn't like I sat down and wrote poetry for a book. It was a collection of poetry, basically of just things in my life that meant something, that made me feel something, that brought a tear, that brought a chill, and that's where I hope that the reader can relate, and that in their life that they can remember that first touch of their child, that feeling of loss. And I'm not saying that is a good thing, but to know not only are you going through a loss, but to feel those loving, warm arms of God surrounding you and going, you got this, we got this. And I want them to feel that.
Mark, sticking with inspiration, but really now honing it in a bit to poetry, because as you said, this isn't poems that you wrote a year ago. I mean, this is a lifetime in the making, and it was never something that you wrote, as you said, if I followed you correctly, it wasn't something that you wrote with the intent of putting it in a book. It was just poetry that you were writing. So talk to us about the love for poetry and creative writing. I mean, were there poets that inspired you growing up? Was it something that you leaned on to really as almost a cathartic thing to get you through tough times? Talk to us a little bit more about that love for poetry.
You nailed it in that it was therapy. almost 40 years ago, I went through a divorce, and I had to, I needed help. Mm-hmm. And I discovered, I do some artwork too, but I discovered that writing down, putting my heart on the paper and allowing it to flow through me and onto paper, it felt good. It felt like a pat on the back. It was, we got this, we can do this. It's tough, but, it was very, very helpful.
Again, we're here on the line with Mark Stracener. We're discussing his amazing book, Rose City Redneck, My Poetic Journey Through Life. Available for purchase through Amazon as well as BarnesandNoble.com, but make sure you check out his Facebook and SoundCloud pages. The Facebook is Mark W. Stracener. SoundCloud is just Mark Stracener. Now, Mark, next question that I'd love to get into, man, and really, my listening audience is going to get very upset with me if I don't hurry up and move here, okay? So let's truck it right along. We know that this is a poetry book comprised of a lot of poems you've written over the years. Well, I'd love to take an opportunity and hear one of them, Mark. So if you have one readily available, we'd love to listen to it.
Oh, I'd love to read one. This particular one, it's called Mother's Day. It was from a dream that my mother had about talking to her mom in heaven. And she was telling me how wonderful it was. Well, how do you hear that and not try to write something down, So this was my attempt to put into words what she was telling me through her tears. So this is called Mother's Day. It was just another Mother's Day, and all the kids had come and gone. We'd laughed and talked of memories, of childhood times at home. The evening started setting in, and supper came and went. My mind was on my mother now, my rock, my dearest friend. I couldn't get her off my mind. I missed her with every breath. After many years of grieving, I still hurt from her death. My eyes got heavy sitting there, and my reality turned to dreams. I entered into another world, free from toils and schemes. I thought out loud, I'll just call Mom up. I'm sure she'll take my call. Of all the loves of all my life, it's her I'd like to speak to most of all. I reached for my telephone, and then to my surprise, I knew heaven's number. A small tear fell from my eye. An angelic voice answered, "This is heaven. Can I help you?" So shocked and excited, I didn't quite know what to do. When I had finally gathered myself, I boldly asked this voice, "I want to talk to my mother." She said, "That's an interesting choice. You see, your mother's standing here, and she was calling you." But here in heaven, it's always love that just keeps shining through. There was a small pause. Then I heard the most wonderful sound of all. It was my mother's dear, sweet voice on the other end of the call. When I was able to finally speak, we talked and talked and talked. We talked of kids and grandkids and about our Christian walk. But then she finally said to me, "Don't worry, my dear child. There'll come a day when you'll join us and your grieving put aside. Your dad, he's here too with all of those that you still hold so dear. So patience until that great, great day that you'll be finally near." We said goodbye. The phone went silent, and I woke with a start. I looked down and noticed the phone clutched close to my heart. It was a gift from God. I know it was. That's all that I can say. But I will never have on this old earth a better Mother's Day.
Wow. Wow. Mark, listen, man. Can I just say, listen, guys, what I love, and I think I'm trying to piece my words together, man, because honestly, that was truly amazing. And I think as an artist, now I'm in a different medium, right? I'm a filmmaker and an actor, but I know a lot of writers, and I speak to a lot of writers, and I think any artist, when you're portraying your artistry, what I believe you're wanting to accomplish is really formulating a connection with your reader, right? Whether that's, just moving them emotionally, causing them to think, whatever the case may be. I think, you're always trying to build that bridge with your audience. And Mark, can I just say, man, that poem is absolutely beautiful and so layered. Because, first and foremost, yeah, of course. Thank you, man. Listen, you had to write it, okay? I just listened to it, okay? I've always been very close with my family, right? Very, very, very close. And again, as I stated to you, I come from a big family. I'm from the East Coast, born and raised in Rhode Island, New England area, and about, just shy of 15 years ago now, I moved to California. I live in Southern California now, and I have been, for, like I said, just shy of 15 years. Now, I go home and I visit family quite often. I try to go home at least twice a year to visit family. But there is something that was so profound about that poem that you just read that I know you're talking about your mom, and I'm very close with my mom. Some people will categorize me as a mama's boy. I don't care. She's an amazing woman. She's an amazing woman. I don't mind. But there was something that's so profound about what you said that just, when I'm done with this interview, man, I got to pick up the phone. I got to call my mom. And I just, not even to say anything in particular, outside of the fact that I love you, man. I love you, Ma, and I miss you. Man. Because what you're talking about is exactly, and that's why it's so profound, right? Because not only are you talking about just this connection, but also having that connection and no longer being able to articulate that, I think is so deep, man. And again, it's so layered, but I love it, right? And what if we could just have a number to call heaven? Right, we could just call our family members that have passed away, right, or our loved ones that have passed away. I think that is absolutely incredible. People, I'm telling you, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you got to pick up the book. You'll be doing yourself a disservice by not doing it. I'm telling you. Mark, next question, man. What would you say was a highlight for you in writing the book? Or if not a highlight, maybe something that surprised you that you weren't anticipating before you began?
I can really answer that because this this is something I believe about collecting all these poems and putting them in the order I did it. And this is what I found was the highlight was memories. Memories of so many, from, childhood, up until the current day. It's like I discovered inside of me this big treasure chest full of memories, and they're like diamonds. And you pull one out, and you look at how brilliant it is and how wonderful it was, and you marvel at it, and you just concentrate on it, and you can feel the things you felt when you resurrect that memory. And there's so many. There's so many. And I have so many more to pick out of there. But this book contains all of these diamonds that I picked up and looked at. And it's just my life. Mm-hmm. But I think others have that same box. Just reach in there, man, and just pull one out and just relive it.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is.
Mark, who is your intended audience with this book? And I know you talked about it before, but I think the message of love is so profound. It's worth doubling down on and repeating. What is the main message you're hoping that they receive from it?
What is the main message that I want them to receive? I think it is to find those things that are important in life. There's so much noise, so much clutter, wash all that away. Find what's important to you and do that. Enjoy that. Love that. Be a part of that. That's what I hope.
And listen, we know about this fantastic book. I want to know about the future. Please tell me there's another one on the horizon, man. What's next? What's upcoming?
Well, I've got. I already have a few more, and that come to me. And believe me, when they do, it's a matter of like whatever I'm doing. It's like I got to sit down. I got to get my legal pad. I got to get my pencil and sharpen it, and I scribble. Nobody else can read it but me. And but yeah, I'm still writing. I have a couple of ideas for some stories. I have one called Choices already, but I have some ideas that I would really like to run with and write some more good stories and just continue doing what I'm doing. And one of these days I'd kind of like to retire. So it's all up to you people out there to buy millions of these books so Mark can retire. How's that?
There you have it. There you have it. We're going to do everything that we can to help you out in that journey, Mark, because, again, I mean this, man. Like, I truly do mean this. This is profound, what you're embarking upon here, and it's so unique and so valuable in so many ways. I'm loving what you're doing here, so we're going to do everything that we can through our network. And Mark, I could think of no better way to close out such a fantastic interview, man. I generally like to close with the reflection, with the spiel. It honestly doesn't even feel right to do it in this instance. I want to close out with another poem, man. So please, if you have another one that you can pull from that's available, myself, my listening audience, we are all ears.
I'm actually going to do the one about my first child being born. I really would like to do that. But this one's called Call Me Dad. I didn't know what was happening behind that thick door, but I knew when it opened, I'd be different than before. Where once there were two, I would very soon see beautiful eyes of blue, and us two become three. Bursting through that door in a box flanked by scrubs, I would very soon discover just what it meant to fall in love. Feeling that heavy weight every dad feels inside, I wanted to hear her little voice. And the nurse, she made her cry. Oh, that sound that came forth pierced me straight to my soul. I knew I must now protect her like nothing I'd ever known. The tears, they welled up like my chest filled with pride. I had never felt a rush like this of love deep inside. The cry of a baby to some must seem sad, but for the first time in my life, my new name was Dad. She captured my heart with her sweet little voice, and it was right then and there I knelt to thank God for his choice. He gave me this little one. I just can't say why, but I'll cherish her and I'll love her until the day that I die.
I love it. Listen, people, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, you got to pick up the book. Rose City Redneck, My Poetic Journey Through Life is the title you have to pick up, and Mark Stracener is the author you have to thank for bringing it to your table. While you're at it, make sure to check out his Facebook page, Mark W. Stracener, to get more of the poetry that he writes and puts on there. But then also check out the SoundCloud page that he's comprised, Mark Stracener. And this way you can listen to some audio components that he's put up as well. People, I'm telling you, it's the gift that keeps on giving. Mark, thank you once again for being a guest on People of Distinction.
Well, thank you for inviting me so much.